Now I'm putting together the Scotchies. I'm getting far more organised at making 3 batches of cakes, so that this time, making all 3 of them at the same time, I'm managing to have those chilling while these are baking, while these are being made, etc. I'm getting everything sorted much more easily. So at this time I'm making the Oatmeal Scotchies, which are oatmeal cookies with butterscotch morsels, and these are extremely sweet and popular. So I am mixing together 260 grams of room temperature butter, and we're having such warm weather now. People who just go online and look at the world clock and see the temperature, if they're not accustomed to those temperatures, they think we must be freezing here. Well, we're not. The temperature is such that it's warm enough for butter to soften overnight here in my kitchen. And I have 3 cups of oats, 1 1/4 cups of flour with 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, and of course I whisk that together later before putting it into the mix. So, the egg, it's 1 egg, isn't it? 2 eggs, so I'll also get 2 large eggs. Mix those together in the mixer and then come and show you the next step. Okay, I forgot to mention the cup of brown sugar and 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, which I mixed in with the mixer, so that's all right. Now, they say, John says in the recipe to also mix the 3 cups of oats using your standing mixer. My mixer only just handles that, and all of it goops up into the mix, the beaters, marries the beaters all the way to the top, and in fact it even started coming up so that I have to clean the underside of the mixer because the oatmeal was being pressed up. So that's a bit much. His mixer does it, mine doesn't, and I don't need to buy a mixer worth several £100. I just don't need that. He's a professional. I'm not. It also said to mix in the 11 ounces bag. I don't know how many grams that is, but it's the entire bag of these in the stand mixer, and I'm not going to do that because it's just not up to the task. I understand why, because it would integrate the chips into the dough much more easily, but it could also burn up my mixer. And even though I didn't pay £400 for it, I did pay $80, and I'm not keen to just burn it up for that when I can take a few minutes and just do it this way. So I'm kind of stabbing the chips all into the dough, and then I'll take my big heavy wooden spoon and get them down into the dough that way. And it does work. I mean, I get them mixed in well enough. These don't have to be chilled, but you do need to, this is the recipe where he does say to freeze them for 10 minutes. I've just found that it works for all of the other recipes as well. So I just do it for everything now. All of the biscuits, I just do that because it does work. It does help them to shape well. So if it works, why not? And of course you get to, if you really want to see all of the different things that he does, the little steps that he takes, well, that's part of the purpose of the link. I mean, part of the purpose of the link is that it gives credit to the person whose recipe I'm using, but part of it is that you can then go to that recipe and watch how he does it, because his kitchen equipment makes it much easier for him to do. That said, I don't mind a little extra hard work, and people really do love these cakes. I think they're the most popular ones, and that's probably why the butterscotch morsels are so difficult to find, is because they're so popular that suppliers can't always keep up with them. But now I have the chips all mixed up into the dough quite nicely, and I didn't have to destroy my mixer. Now what I do is take these. You have to be careful with these. They actually do work well in that they're recyclable. I mean, they're reusable, so you don't use as much stuff that needs to be thrown out. But they are a kind of fabric, so now and then on the edges, you probably can't see it in the camera with the lighting so bad, but on the edges there are these little threads that come up, and I don't think you can see it, and they almost look like little hairs because of the kind of fabric it is. So at first I thought, oh my goodness, there's a hair in the but it wasn't. It was this thread. It wouldn't come off, and I was like, what's going on? And it was that. And it doesn't get into the biscuits because you can't pull it out. So you might want to now and then just cut it off simply because you don't want that look. But it doesn't come out into your baking. It does not come out. So that's comforting. Anyway, back to work. Let's get a spoon. And I just get just enough of these. Just like with the others, you don't want them too big or too small. About that size is about right, but you do want to freeze them because these especially seem to just spread out, which is probably why he does say on this recipe to freeze them for 10 minutes. And he has this massive walk-in freezer. I must say I get kitchen envy sometimes when I'm watching him, because he has such a spacious kitchen. It's like a walk-in freezer and a huge countertop space. You know, the side and the island, that he's just got this massive kitchen. And I would like to have that someday. I did have quite a large kitchen one time in one of the houses that I lived in, but you don't get big kitchens in this country very often. We're still, most houses, bungalows, are still in the tweeny little kitchen mode. it's beginning. When people make modern houses, when they build their own houses with an architect doing their design, they're now coming up with bigger kitchens, but our older houses, of course, have the twee little kitchens, and they can be a bit annoying. Like sometimes when I'm cooking a meal and I'm standing there with a pan, or sitting there rather, with a pan of food and nowhere to set it down because I just don't have enough cabinet space for everything. It can be annoying, but I suppose their cooking in those years was different. At any rate, now these are going to pop into the freezer for 10 minutes and then into the oven for 10 minutes, and then I'll show you the end result. Okay, dropped my phone, shattered the screen, and it had a screen protector on it. Anyway, these are the finished Scotchies, a nice size, nice thickness, and still chewy. They're not too hard. So that's how they come out if you freeze them. If you don't freeze them, they go completely flat and they get little fried egg edges around them, which are not what you want. So that's those done.